أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الرحمن وسلامه عليه قال الله تعالى في القرآن العظيم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال تعالى أيضا يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. We start as usual and as always by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek His forgiveness and we seek His assistance. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil that resides within our own selves and from the bad consequences of our own deeds. Whomsoever Allah has guided, there is none who could lead that person astray. And whomsoever Allah has left due to their own desire or incessant desire to be left, then no one can guide them after Allah has abandoned them. And we ask Allah to never allow us to be among such people. We bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship besides Allah. He is wahda, He is one and unique in His oneness, complete in His perfection and incomparable to His creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala. We further bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is without a doubt His last and final messenger, the best of Allah's creation and the last and final messenger in a long line of prophets and messengers before him, as he is the last and Khatim al-Anbiya wa Sayyid al-Mursaleen, Aktharu salatu wa taslim. Amma ba'd. Secrets, brothers. Secrets. I want to talk a little bit in the time that we have about secrets. And I've never actually talked about this before, so I ask Allah in advance to forgive me for any of my mistakes and shortcomings, and my brothers as well after that. But I wanted to talk about secrets, and everybody has some secrets. And when you hear that word, nowadays mainly, what comes to your mind is the tea. You brothers on internet, and I don't even know what that means. We're going to spill the tea on people. That's what apparently what secrets is now. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the way of it. Secrets aren't always bad, are they? Secrets can sometimes save you from the hellfire, maybe. And I wanted to talk to you about a group of brothers who were traveling home. And you know that if you've taken road trips with people over the years, and I've done a lot of that, coming home is always exciting. You're always, whenever I've come home with a brother from a road trip, most of the time, sometimes it went terribly and sometimes it went poorly, but there was a certain amount of happiness that comes from that. You've gone out, and AbuHafsah and me have traveled extensively together. You've gone out in the path of Allah, you've gone out to do something. In this case, these brothers were working, and they're coming home, and there's a certain joviality or certain happiness that comes from that. And they were traveling home, and a storm came up. And storms are quite common, especially here in Ontario. In this winter months, you have snow. I've traveled through dust storms in Morocco with that same brother, and snowstorms in Ontario with the same brother. Storm picked up with these brothers were traveling home, and they had to stop, and they had to find, 3 of them had to find rescue or find shelter in a cave. So they go into the cave and wait out the storm, and that's what tends to be the way of it. But this storm was especially bad, and it got worse as they waited until, and this story is muttafaqun alayh in Bukhari and Muslim, by the way. It's an authentic story. A rock fell from the mountain and it sealed up the cave. Can you imagine? These brothers now, 3 of them, are locked into this cave and sealed into this cave. There's no telephones, there's no emails, there's no Instagrams, there's no Twitter. Just 3 men locked in a cave by a boulder. And I want you to place yourself amongst them mentally if you can. During your time here, inshallah, during the khutbah, I want you to try your best to visualize yourselves amongst them. And they sat together and they discussed how they're going to get out of the cave. How are we going to get out of here, brother? So they came up with the idea. They said that we're going to make dua on our best deed. Our best deed, for the sake of Allah, we're going to make dua based off of that. Tawassul, if you want, off of that. And maybe that will help. So the first one he starts. He said, I have a rule in my house that my parents eat first. And that's his rule. That's it. He has a rule in his house that his parents eat first. And that's how he does things. MashaAllah, birrul walidain. Nowadays, mashallah, you'd be lucky if your parents ate at all. Nowadays, some people will just throw their parents away and put them in a home. They don't eat first, or they don't eat last either. They eat once a week on Sundays, apparently, for some people. But this brother, he had a birrul walidain that was, mashallah. And his parents would eat first. Now, one night he came home, and he came home late. And they were already asleep. And he made the entire family wait until they woke up to feed them. And he said, if I did this, oh Allah, if I did this for your sake, then move the rock. And the rock moved a little. And I want to stop here for a second because I mentioned it. Birrul walidain. Akhi, do you have Muslim parents that are alive? Muslim parents. I'm not talking about like the kind of parents that would abuse you and beat you and do all these things to you. Allah knows best about that. But I'm talking about the parents who tried their best, and you know. The parents who tried their best to raise you in the way of Allah. They taught you salah. They taught you your shahada, actually. They taught you everything that you need to know. How can you not have some birrul walidain for them? Now, do you have to make your children wait all night the way the brother did? No, that's not necessarily from Islam. There's no direct order for that. It wouldn't have been a problem for him to let his family eat first, and they would woke up and say, you know, Ummi or Abi were sleeping and I let the kids eat. But he didn't do that. He kept it that way. He kept the rule and he kept the birrul walidain until they woke up and he fed them first. Nowadays we have a thing to where parents are like shoes necessarily. You wear them until you're too big for them, and then you put them in a closet. And that's Western society. You put them in a home. You put them in a terrible place where we've seen recently over the past few years how they treat old people and elderly people terribly. And we have this in our deen, that we should take care of our parents. That actually it's after the worship of Allah. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And that was his secret. That he would take care of his parents and he would make them eat, let them eat first, and everybody would eat second. And he said, if I did that for you, O Allah, then move the rock. And sure enough, the rock moved a little bit. The second one, he loved his cousin. He was infatuated by his cousin. And he said that he loved her more than any man has ever loved a woman, subhanAllah. Akhi, have you ever seen this thing when someone's infatuated, they use these words like this? Loved him better than any man has ever loved a woman. Allahu Akbar. Habibi, Habibi, right, at the beginning. So she came to him with a certain need, and she needed financial support. And he said to her, and we ask Allah to save us from being like this and from such people. He said, I will do that, I'll give you the money you need, but I want to commit fahisha. SubhanAllah. He wanted to have relations with her. And she went away. Now this sister is a champion, mashallah, in this story. And we don't talk about her as much, or I haven't heard talk about her as much. She didn't want to give up her dignity and she went away. And she didn't accept that. Nowadays, we have people who are almost defined by the rizq, in that they will do anything for that rizq. Dignity notwithstanding. We had this piece of filth that passed away yesterday who was promoting fahisha for 30 years, and I'm not even going to mention his name. If you know, you know. And that was his whole thing, to promote that. And he would give them something and they'd benefit somehow, and they would degrade themselves in front of the world. And we ask Allah to save us from all that, and may Allah protect our sisters from falling victim to this. You have this thing of likes now. This I guess you could say this currency of likes and comments that our sisters somehow, and our brothers as well, have a need for. So they want to become models, and they want to dress a certain way and take off hijab and promote themselves because they want to chase the bag. Chase the bag, brother. Go ahead, chase your money. But this sister, in this story, she told this man to fear Allah, and she didn't do anything with him. Time goes by though, and her financial need doesn't change. So she comes back, and he says the same thing to her. And they agree, unfortunately. And they get to the part, and I'm not going to describe it like that, they get to the part where they have to stop. And she says to him, don't break the seal except in halal, except in marriage. So he immediately, and this is what's important, he immediately remembers Allah, and he stops that, and he gives her the money, and he sends her on her way. And he says, oh Allah, if I did that for you, then I ask you to move the rock. If I avoided doing this with her, if I avoided it, if I did this for your sake, please, Ya Rabbil Alameen, remove the rock. And Allah moved the rock a bit. The rock moved a bit. You see, it's not how you start things. It is how you start things, brothers, but it's also how you finish them. And if we are involving ourselves in things online that we shouldn't be, we ask Allah to forgive us for that. But I'm asking you, brothers, to close that before it goes too far. Close it before it goes too far. And at the end of it, Allah saved this brother. And her, actually, both of them. And the rock moved a bit. Third is about a man who had workers working for him. And he worked, and he had laborers and farmers that worked in his fields, and he paid them all. But there was one who thought that he would have a right to more, and he wanted double. So he quarreled and argued about that until he just said, well, I don't want anything, and he left. He left in a angry way. So time goes by, and the worker comes back, and he asks the boss for his money again. And the boss now, mashallah, he goes and takes the worker to this valley And this valley is full of cows and sheep and goats and I'm paraphrasing, may Allah forgive us for the mistakes, and camels and so on, and people working there. And he said, this is all yours. So can you imagine? If you thought that somebody ripped you off, and then you get upset and you go, man, he owes me $100. I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna check him for that $100. So you go there and you're upset. And then he takes you out behind his house and you realize that this whole field is yours and he's saying it's yours. And he asked him, the worker asked him, are you making fun of me? I just want my money. So the boss says, this is your money. I took it and I invested it for you, and this is what it is. All this here is yours. All this valley with all these animals and all these people working here, this is all yours. I invested your money for you. And this worker took everything. Cleaned them out. Cleaned out the whole valley. Took all the workers, all the animals, all the goats, sheep, camels, and whatever else. And the man said, if I did that, oh Allah, for you, then I ask you to move the rock. And the rock moved, and they were free. This was the third person, and the rock moved, and they were free. Have you ever been ripped off, akhi? Have you ever felt like you've been ripped off by someone? I know I've been cheated and ripped off by people over the years, and it doesn't make you feel very good. But can you imagine how someone who took that money that you thought was ripping you off and actually invested it into something else and gave it back to you? Like that. How many of us would do that? How many of us would do that with people we like? You know, if a brother comes to you and says, Akhi, I really don't have income and I would like to make some money, and you're a business person and you would help them to earn, would you help them to do that? This is something that we do for people that we like. Imagine people that gave us problems. Imagine people that came and hassled us and made noise for us. We take their money and invest it, and they get this huge valley. Now, we don't have to do these things. Allah knows best. These are acts of kindness. These are acts of really great kindness. And he did that for the sake of Allah, and the rock moved away. SubhanAllah, we have these three people, these three men. One who was very kind to his parents, and Allah blessed him for that. One who avoided doing something and had every intention to do it. Every intention to do that. He was ready. They were there. They were together. She didn't agree at first, but eventually she did. And no one is seeing them except for Allah Jalla wa'ala. And he stopped. And the next one, again, no one is seeing him except Allah. He invested the money of the worker, and it doubled and multiplied in such a way that it was huge. And Allah blessed it for him. He didn't have to give the worker anything except what was his haqq, but He gave him more than that. And because of that, the rock moved and they were freed. يقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله ولي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى توفيقا وسدادا. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على خاتم النبيين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I wanted to close off with some personal lessons from this story of these three. I ask you to place yourself amongst them mentally for a reason. And that is, if you were with them, what would you contribute? What would you say? Would you have something to say? Or would they be there waiting for you to talk? Alright, akhi, tfaddal. Now, alhamdulillah, in the story, the rock is gone. But if we were there, what would we contribute? Is there anything, akhi, ukhti, is there anything that you might have in front of Allah that you could call on and make tawassul on so that that rock would move? Or would they be waiting for you? Akhi, what did you do? Did you do anything for your parents? Well, they were rude to me and I put them in home. Oh, sorry. But I go to them every week. I go to them every Sunday. And maybe, sometimes, the rock wouldn't move. Akhi, do you have anything? Do you have anything that you would have? And that's my question to you, brothers. What do you have? What do we have? What do I have that would help that rock to move. And how would it be for us, and how would things be for us if we were trapped in a cave? Question number 2 is, if you were there with your friends, would you and them get out of the cave? The people that you associate with are the ones who help you in this journey. The people that you travel with and the people that you globe-trot with, if you want to say it that way, are the people that will help you either get to Jannah or Jahannam, wal-'iyadhu billah. And if you travel with people that pray, and if you travel with people that make dua, and you travel with people that worship Allah, chances are they may have some secrets that they might have with Allah, so that when times get tough, rocks get moved. And that's very important, because when things go sideways sometimes, and when they have a habit of doing that, especially in this world that we live in right now, it's important that you have secrets with Allah. The third thing is, we may have secrets, but what kind of secrets are they? Would they be secrets to move the rock, or would they be secrets to seal the cave? Sometimes we can have secrets that would seal the cave and lock us in the cave. So we know that we have secrets, and we ask Allah to purify us and to make what we do in private better than what we do in public. Because now there's a thing where we promote our good deeds, don't we? And that's the last point. If you do have these good deeds, don't waste them on social media. Don't waste them. Don't film homeless people. Don't film yourself giving homeless people money so that we can all go, yay! What's a clap except a loud noise? What's a like except for a click? Someone clicks a button. Do you really want your deen to be based on buttons? Do you want your secrets to be based on buttons? Clicks? Click, heart. That's it. That's your ajr. Imagine if that was your ajr. Imagine if the only ajr we had was hearts. Clicked hearts. Keep something secret. Yes, we're encouraged to give for the sake of Allah and to do that publicly sometimes. And we're not discouraged from that because it inspires people. Yes, it does. MashaAllah. But at the same time, brothers, do something. Have something in secret between you and Allah that might move the rock from a cave, and that might move and release you and your friends from the hellfire. It's crucial, akhi. Because when you're locked away in a place that no one can help you except for Allah, and we had a coal mining thing recently where people were locked in the coal mines. When you have that, only Allah can help you. And you realize that Allah is Al-Hafidh, and Allah is Al-Alim, and Allah knows every one of your secrets. So in closing, I would like to advise myself and yourself that if you don't have any secrets with Allah, have one today. Start with one today. Start with a secret that you might have that nobody else knows about with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And have friends who you suspect have secrets as well. Good secrets with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have friends like that, because you never know when a situation is going to arise when you may need that, and when you may need them to help you. Because at the end of the day, all of us are returning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Judgment Day is a day when all secrets will be revealed. And last and finally, we ask Allah's forgiveness, and we ask Him to shower us with His rahmatun wasi'ah, His mercy and His forgiveness. And may He purify all of our acts. And may Allah make us from amongst those people. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَيْبِ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَيْبِ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ. That those who worshipped Allah in private, they have secrets with Allah, they worship Him in private. لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ. To them is a forgiveness and a tremendous reward. So if you want to be like those men in the cave, have secrets that would save you from such a fate. And we ask Allah to protect us all from falling short and ending up in places where we shouldn't be. Inna Allahu malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم إننا أسألك بأسمائك الحسنى وصفاتك العلى ادخلنا في الجنة النعيم وأجرنا من النار والجحيم. اللهم إننا أسألك قبل الموت توبة وعند الموت شهادة وبعد الموت جنة نعيما وحريرا وملكا كبيرا. قوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمني يرحمكم الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
استووا استقيموا يرحمكم الله. تراصوا. Straighten the lines, complete the rows. Jazakumullah khairan. I don't have my brother to police the rows, so you're gonna have to do it yourself. Jazakumullah khairan. استووا استقيموا. صلوا صلاة مودعة رحمكم الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إنا إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر